everyone, it's Mari. I'm here again today with another project for honeybee stamps. I'm mostly going to be focusing on the tropical bouquet honey cuts. This is just a beautiful honey cut set that includes a bunch of tropical florals and a couple of vases. I'm going to be using both of those vases to create some beautiful bouquets for the card front today. I'm going to use a bunch of different magicals for my project today, and I'm just going to show you how I go about adding these to a little bit of watercolor paper. This is Ranger watercolor paper, and the magicals are just like a powder watercolor product that have, the ones I'm using anyways, have a lot of shimmer and shine to them. And you'll just see that I'm adding some water onto the cardstock, onto the watercolor paper, and then adding the pigment into that water, and then just letting that pigment move around on the paper. I'm going to use my heat tool to help me dry. I'm also going to use a little bit of paper towel to dry up some of the excess water. I'm going to add more pigment onto there, some splatters, and this is just going to create a really cool effect on my paper. And I'm going to use all of these magical pigment areas on the paper that I'm going to be creating to die cut out the shapes for my card. Now this is one of the stencils from the Winter Wonder background stencil set, and I am going to use this to create some little gold dots using the Gina K Glitz glitter gel in gold on my cardstock here. So I'm just going to use my Nuvo spatula here. I'm going to scrape some of that really pretty gold pigment onto my paper and create that really gold shiny effect there. And I'll be using that to cut out one of the vases a little bit later. Now I'm taking one of the diamond pattern stencils from that set, and I'm also using one of the circle spotlight stencils, and I'm going to create a spotlight center for where I'm going to be putting these vases and these tropical florals. So I'm just going to layer those stencils over top of each other and stick those down over top of my A2 size cardstock that I have. This is just some Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock. I'm going to blend over top of those two stencils using some antique linen Distress Oxide ink and my honeybee stamps blending brush. And this is just going to create a base area for my vases and my florals. Like I said, you don't really see a lot of it, but it kind of peeks out around the edges. Now this is the Circle Thin Frames Honey Cut, and I'm going to use that, and you can see here I've cut a bunch of circle frames from some gold glitter cardstock, and this is so pretty. Now I will just set those extra ones aside and use those on other projects. I'm going to use two of those to frame in that stencil area, and there you can see I've got two vases cut out. Now I colored the one vase onto that. It's using some more magicals. I'll list all of the colors of magicals in the description box down below that I used, but I'm just gonna, I'm gonna create a whole bunch of little color swatches here on another piece of watercolor paper, and this is gonna allow me to cut out all of those different floral pieces and foliage pieces as well. So one of the vases is cut from kind of a coral color, the other one, that blue that I showed you, both of the vases have that gold stenciling on them. And now you can just see I'm ready to cut out these different foliage and floral pieces using the Tropical Bouquet honey cuts. So I've got those all cut and they're set aside, and now I'm just going to start sticking things down. So I'm going to start off with sticking down my gold glittery frames here, and then I'm going to add my two vases and the florals on top of that. So I'll just get those stuck down with some liquid adhesive and get those in place. And now I'm ready to place my two vases down. So the blue one, I'm just going to stick down with my Nuvo adhesive here, just flat to the inside of that circle spotlight area. And then the kind of coral colored vase, I'm going to pop up on some foam dots to give it a little bit of dimension, and just stick up from the other one to make it kind of look like it's in front of the other vase, obviously. So get that stuck down, and then I'll be ready to start to add those different, or the tropical bouquet foliage pieces and florals into my 2 vases. So you can just see the gold glitz glitter gel detail on both of those vases. It just ties in that gold as well with both frames, and I just think that looks really pretty. Now, all of those color swatches that you saw me do with my magicals on the watercolor paper, that's all been cut out now with my dies. I'm not going to use all of the pieces that I cut because I cut a lot. I just wanted to die cut a whole bunch and have a bunch of extra pieces for other cards. And here you can just see all of the fun details that these tropical bouquet honey cuts create. I love this honey cut set. It is my favorite, I think, from the recent summer release. It's beautiful. It's just, I think, so fun to use and to layer and create different types of cards using that honey cut set. And there's a lot of honey cuts in that set. So this one you can see is just it looks like a hibiscus, and I decided to use some of the kind of yellowy gold paper for that one. I put a gold center from the glitter paper again in the center of that hibiscus, and this little piece here is more of that green watercolor magical paper that I've cut the die cut from using that die. That's the little center kind of whatever the center spiky piece of hibiscus is called. This other floral piece here, you can see I'm using another glittery gold in the center of that one. That flower is kind of more pinky tones, more pinky peach. And I just wanted to mix up the colors, so that they kind of go with the vases too and make it look interesting as well. So these are the little plumeria honey cuts, and I'm going to layer the 2 pieces that coordinate one on top of the other there using a glue dot, and I'm going to glue a center on that. That's once again the gold glitter paper, so that brings that gold glitter into the plumeria as well. These little plumeria honey cuts are so sweet. I love them, and you can cut them in any color, but I guess I think plumeria is usually white with kind of like that yellow center, but I'm not really sure if there might be other colors of plumeria. I'm not a botanist, but you can make them whatever color you want. I just thought it would look nice for a pop of white on this as well. So it just worked for this particular bouquet that I am creating here. So I'm going to actually pop the white plumeria up on a foam dot there just to give it a little bit of dimension off of the other florals. And I will actually make one more plumeria and put it kind of over on the other side of the coral colored vase there. Once again, I'm just adding a glue dot to the center of that piece that's going to be on top, overlaid over top of the other white piece, so that it's just dimensional in that way. And then I will add a gold glitter center to that plumeria as well, and some foam adhesive onto the back of that to make that pop also off of my bouquet. So once I've got that in place, I am going to be all finished with my bouquet, and I'm going to be ready to work on the sentiment for this project. Now, for the sentiment, I used one of the sentiments from the Slimline Sentiment Eyelet Honey Cut, and the honey cut that I'm going to use here, and I'm going to show you, this is the word hugs. And I just thought that's a really generic, perfect sentiment for this card. You could give this for absolutely anything. I feel it's a really good generic sentiment, and I have cut that from black and from the gold glitter cardstock again to layer up and create that dimensional sentiment. Now I'm going to glue my card front down onto a kind of a really pretty green card base. I just thought that went along nicely with that tropical feel to the project. I'll get that stuck down there just with a little bit of tape runner adhesive, and then I will just go ahead and glue my sentiment onto the front of my card, and my card is going to be finished. I had so much fun creating this. I love these honey cuts. I love creating a card with dies. I think it's so fun. You can create so much dimension and texture with your card, and I really had a lot of fun creating this one for sure. So I will leave links to all of the products that I used in the description box below, so make sure you check that out. There will be a link to the honeybee shop, And to the products, I will also leave a list of the magicals and just some other magicals maybe that you might be interested in. They are a really fun product, but if you don't have magicals and you just want to use watercolor to create this on some watercolor paper, you can use whatever. And in fact, you could even use, if you wanted that shimmery effect, you could use watercolors and then just spritz with a shimmery spray. I had so much fun with this. I think it's really pretty. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you were inspired. And I hope to see you here another time on the channel. Have an amazing day, everybody. Stay safe. And I will see you again. Bye-bye.